Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Talk with Gumlet. I am Aditya, co-founder and CEO at Gumlet. Today we are joined by industry leaders of video first startup from Indian startup ecosystem who have not only built but scaled their startups in last few years. And today's topic of our first TED Talk is going to be about how somebody can build a video first startup in 2023. What are the tools and what are the challenges? Hey, thanks everyone for joining today. There has been like a lot of tailwinds for video first companies, especially because of the pandemic. And we have seen like there are a lot of startups which has emerged out. What was thought to be like a one-time event, it actually turned out to be like a very industry-wide thing where video startups are not only doing good, they are just growing rapidly. And I think it's a great time to talk about like what if somebody wants to start or somebody is building that. What are the best practices? This talk will basically allow them to understand what things to do and also like most important thing in startup world what not to do. So we'll jump into different topics which is about journey of building a startup and mostly from the tech perspective, but we'll also touch base upon the product management part of it and how to give the best user experience as well. Why don't we introduce ourselves as well?
My name is Manu. I head the engineering team at GrowthSchool. We're an ed tech platform focused on professional development. We mostly target people in the 20 to 38 years kind of range who get out of college. They learned a lot, but they don't necessarily feel like they have all the skills that they need to succeed in their career or upskill in their career. So it's more about helping them achieve those goals. Whether it's job transition, whether it's being recognized more, whether it's just upskilling because you want to feel better about what you're delivering. Those are the kinds of objectives we strive to attain with our customers.
Yes. Hi guys, I am Ravneet. I am co-founder of Wagmi. Before Wagmi, I was director of engineering at Vedantu, where I built the Vedantu's app from scratch and scaled it to 40 million users. So we have been in the tech space for a long time. With Wagmi, we are basically building a social tech platform where aspirants can meet achievers, right? And then they can engage with them, learn from them. And it is again a video first platform that we are building. So that's a little bit about my background.
Hi, hello guys. My name is Suraj. I work with CodeChef. We are basically an online coding platform where people from different backgrounds they come and they learn coding. We are primarily penetrating into the learning market, but our original USP was competitive programming, where people used to come on the platform, compete with each other, and that's how people used to learn coding. At CodeChef, I lead the product and engineering team.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good to meet you. I'm Kaizad and I'm the founder of SWIRL. We are a live video commerce SaaS company. We basically help D2C brands, retailers to create a very immersive shopping experience using videos and live streaming. So think of it as like the headless version of Shopify, but using the video component on top of it.
Okay, sounds good. So let's start with this thing. I just wanted to direct with a normal person who would start something initially. There is a very easy way to do this is no code. No code movement has basically begun in I think 2015 around, but it has taken a huge momentum. One big thing which comes into my mind is Retool, which is internal backend tool which can basically allow developers or anybody in a team to build internal tools remarkably fast. That's what they do, right? But the question is that what are like other tools or anything that is viable today which makes this possible to build a startup without even hiring an engineering talent to start with, to get an MVP or to get to the point.
I joined GrowthSchool about a year and a half after it first started, by which time they had, I won't disclose the numbers, it's substantial amount of revenue, right? And it was all built completely on no code. I was the first engineer they hired, and they could afford not to hire a single engineer for the first year and a half and get to, substantial revenue just using no code technology, right? And it really depends on, so I think that the key thing to keep in mind is not to build the perfect product, but to build the minimally viable product. And if you seek that as your goal and not necessarily perfection in terms of, hey, it should send this app notification, it should send this push notification exactly when I want the perfect engagement. If you don't care about that dance, but more about like, can I prove that this works and I can at least get some revenue on it, then somebody would get interested and say that, hey, this looks like a viable market. There's no way, I mean, this is 2023, right? Nobody's going to give you money just to say I have an idea. Somebody's going to give you money to once you have proof of traction, and if it really depends on the background you're coming from too. I think the challenge is greater for engineers because you can code, and so you're really tempted to say, okay, I know the stack, I just want to build this. But even in that scenario, I think if you're proficient with no code tools, you'll get to market and prove that faster than if you built it yourself necessarily. So I'll just highlight some of the tools that really got us off the ground. GrowthSchool is a cohort based education platform where people buy courses for professional development in a nutshell, right? So you're a UX designer, you want to get better at UI UX, you want to start a D2C business, you want to get better at full stack software engineering, etc. So you'll come and engage in GrowthSchool. You might take shorter programs that are a few hours, longer programs that are 8 to 12 weeks, and you will do that. So Viber, who's the CEO and founder of GrowthSchool, he's a marketer by profession. So naturally, he was very comfortable with, and marketing is, I think, is a great background for no code tools, because it's all just like learning how to like get one tool to talk to another, right? So it's like very good background to come from if you're coming there. How do I get Google Analytics to report to this spreadsheet? How do I get this into this other thing? So what was relevant for us, I think the king of the jungle honestly is like some kind of content management system if you're looking at edtech, but obviously every situation will demand something else. For us, content management system, you can't go wrong with something like WordPress. Super flexible, millions of plugins. It won't do the perfect thing, but it'll do like quote unquote 80% job, right? For payments processing, again, there's Razorpay and there's a bunch of other people in the ecosystem that'll plug in nicely with that. And and I think the other thing that's really worth doing in terms of like the little bit of glue that no code is not going to give you off the bat is something like Zapier or Integrately. But those tools are all great. Like they let you kind of connect these missing pieces and form the glue to kind of connect the pieces of your platform that you would otherwise have to code.
What are others? If you have any thoughts on that, Ravneet, Suraj?
See, yes, Retool is great, right? At Vedantu also we had this big CMS that we had done internally, which manages all the batches, right? Because again, we were also into cohort-based programming and a lot of kids. And in the COVID times, so we have seen that also scale, right? Where more free trials were given and there were more batches of people coming in, kids coming in, right? So, but for example, if we look from a parallel, that the kind of CMS we created internally versus what can be achieved on Retool today is amazing, right? So I think that that level of work can be done at say 1/10 the time minimum, right? And you don't need sophisticated software engineers to do that, right? And be dependent upon such CMS. So basically, again, that power did unlock with Retool coming into place.
I think Shopify is one of the prime examples of no code integration, and one of the reasons why platforms like us have been able to get mainstream adoption both in India and globally is because of the whole no code integration capabilities.
Indeed, I think Shopify has made the entire e-commerce no code. Somebody comes up and wants to start selling anything online. I mean, yeah, that's one singular answer out there.
I think one very cool no code tool that we are now starting to use is Webflow. I think that's like taking the industry by storm. And in fact, that's the fastest and the best way to create your own custom website while still being super cutting edge, when it comes to your SEO efforts or your landing pages or running ad campaigns or integrating with different martech platforms. It's something very exciting that we are looking forward to.
Even Framer in that regard, right? So Webflow and Framer, right? Both are great tools for starting that. Even if you look at from a link tree perspective, right, from an individual creator standpoint, if that those are also great tools, right, wherein you have your own website up and running and you have all your contact informations provided so that the conversions can happen, right? Again, great simple tools.
Suraj, and any tools that CodeChef uses right now on no code side?
We used to use WooCommerce for our goodie platform, where we used to send goodies to the winners of the platform. But the only concern that I see with no code kind of tool is when you want to scale up or customize, right? When there is a lot of customization that you require to do, and it's possibly difficult for the platform to accommodate. That is when it starts becoming a big pain. Otherwise, for early startups or early things, no code is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I think that is my next question. I mean, when does company, I mean, outgrow no code? I mean, and Manu, maybe you outgrew no code, I suppose. Uh, when does it happen? Is it customization, or it is more like a more people are there, or more functionalities are needed? It's a function of like customer growth, or is function of company growth? How does it? When does it stop working?
When you get funding is the short answer.
That's a good
the
answer.
the quick answer to my point is, when you want to go from that 80% solution to proving MVP to proving that 100% solution, because that's going to give you better engagement, better kind of user feedback, all that's going to help you iterate your product. When is that relevant? Not necessarily for getting your first 100, maybe even 1,000, 10,000 users, depends on the kind of business you're in. If it's B2B, then maybe first 100 matters. B2C, maybe first 100,000 matters. But when you need to go beyond that, you obviously need a lot of specific tuning specific to your application that an off-the-shelf product won't meet. So I think you have to kind of look at it in the perspective of your specific business, whether it's B2B, B2C, and all the other considerations. And yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So next, let's say somebody wants to go from no code to some code, right? And I'm getting a little bit technical here before coming out again. So what are like frameworks or say backends which are so in these days what happens is typically you don't need to build just one thing. I think in 2010 when I started coding, it was just PHP language, and in front end there was no framework. Just you could just do with a few lines of jQuery and things flied nicely. Today, like, you need to think about your backend entire framework, whether it's what is powering the APIs and business logic. Front end, you have like a for web, you have like React of the world, Angular, and Next.js, and ton of things. I mean, in fact, and on mobile also you have ton of things. You want to make mobile front end is no longer just a native coding. There are like React natives of the world and Flutter of the world which are available. So what is right now? I mean, what is your experience? What is working fine? And not only at your startups, and you already have like a lot of connects with the other startups as well. What technologies you see like scaling really well in this 2023, which is easy to get adopted, and they make like really good products. Very broad question, but yeah, I mean, would love to have thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about React Native based apps, right? So there's a tool called Expo, right, where you can build apps. Again, it is a simpler tool where you can combine the given npm modules, right? Put it into place, get your builds out. You can create a build directly on their web panel itself, right? And just you can start small apps, and then can start scaling it, right? So from that perspective, we have seen tools like React Native, right now Flutter. Basically the adoption curve is far simpler, right? It's not that complex as writing, say, in Swift or even in Objective C or in Java, right? Native Java for Android apps, even Windows apps earlier, now say even Android apps, right? So writing is the React Native, it is more flexible because JavaScript is far more widely spread language, right? That people have interacted with, so they know the syntax, so that they're far more easier to adopt and then start programs with. Obviously, there are performance issues that come with scale for such functions, but again, from a say fundamental perspective, running the business show or MVP perspective, they provide great platforms and great service and far faster build times. Development times are far simpler, and you can basically get your apps up and going, bigger apps, right, within months, rather than having and again having separate teams for iOS and separate teams for Android. So React Native, Flutter have been great technologies for more app developments to happen far faster.
CodeChef and a lot of other platforms, they have started migrating to React, primarily because the development community is huge, right? So the resources that are available, they are kind of, it's a gold mine of content or resources that are available in React. If there is any problem that you are facing with respect to any issues that you're facing, right, it's very easy to find a huge community, a solution from the huge community.
I think from painful personal lessons we've learned, not just at GrowthSchool, other places, the real challenge in transitioning from no code to code is the metaphor. Two metaphors, I think. One is, imagine you're driving a bus. You got to change the tire on the bus, but the bus can't stop, right? So like the no code platform has to run. So the metaphor that transitions into that is, how do you eat an elephant, right? Piece by piece. That's the only answer. You can't like eat it all at once. So I think the burden really falls not solely on engineering, but on product management to figure out how can you actually transition off of a product that is working, that you cannot like, there's no way you're going to replace like WordPress and WooCommerce and everything with a homegrown platform that solves for discounts, subscriptions, expiry, nothing. You're not, even if I give you a crack team of brilliant engineers, first of all, who don't want to build e-commerce products, but if I give you the crack team and I give you years, it's going to be subpar compared to like a community product that's been out for 15 years. So the real challenge is, how do I keep that running, and how do I like position the pieces in place so I can replace the most critical pieces first, or the easiest pieces first, and some combination of criticality and ease and impact and reach and all of that. So that's, I think, so that becomes really a really good, it's really good it's really important to have a good product team in place that can envision that, because you're not always going to do that as from an engineer's perspective.
When somebody starts, let's say, video journey, the first thing that comes in our head is the big one, YouTube, and let's put videos there, right? That is the first strategy. I think Suraj will be able to relate the biggest with that. Because yeah, I mean, why not? It's there. It just allows us to upload things. So Suraj, why don't you tell something about when somebody like outgrows it? I mean, what are the times when YouTube is great fit, but what are times when it is not?
The benefit of using YouTube is the user base, like more than 2 billion active users every month. Like you can easily get any kind of target audience that you're looking for, right? That's the primary audience. That's the primary benefit of using YouTube, right? So you don't have to go and search for the user bases, or content delivery is very easy there. uh, that's one of the best method to launch yourself. It's also cost effective. It won't cost you a lot, if you want to go ahead and start delivering your content in the market. But I think the issues that people may start facing it with respect to content restrictions. There are, YouTube has very strict content policies, right? So it may allow certain content, it may not allow certain content. Monetization also is something that can be problematic for a lot of people.
Anybody did have experience with YouTube in past? And there are two sides of thing. Like one is business side of thing. One I think is demand gen. So I think demand gen and getting the awareness out and all. YouTube is still a great platform to get people on board. I think a lot of SaaS companies, because I meet a lot of SaaS founders, do use YouTube as a demand gen where they put videos, they get some audience there.
Yeah, so actually, YouTube is a great tool for edtech, especially, right? All edtech is built on YouTube, right? Unacademy has a great way of putting out teachers, getting all the students engaged. Same with Antu, same physics wala, right? So if we look at edtech has I think used YouTube as the best source, right? And for their distribution channels, right, and reach the audiences. Uh, so yes, definitely. Then, but again, as others also said, right, there are a lot of restrictions that we can play with YouTube and can't do. Right. For example, most of our teachers are master teachers. Right. They used to teach it on YouTube itself, but they are not direct ways of taking account information of the user. If I click on subscribe, right, then automatically all that comes to my account, and then I can reach out to that user somehow. Share my app link, share my course link, and all that. You have to put all the links, etc., in the description section or all that ways, right? So again, they don't allow the flexibility, right? If they could open up or have plugins like the way Slack has, right, I can customize my channel, can put in a lot of bots, etc., to basically cater the experience the way I want to as a channel owner, right? They don't allow such customizations or plugins to be embedded, like say Dukan is doing it, or say Shopify allows that to happen, right? So such things are not there, so hence it starts restricting it, and then you end up trying all those things into your own platform, and then you have to ask for maybe more custom built personalized solutions, etc., onto then respective platforms like Vedantu and Academy, Physics Wala, right, by user sector. But yes, as a distribution tool, great, right? You can have all the keywords possible out there. You can program your content that fashion. You can again set schedules on how the content should get dispersed. All that again doable. We can go live, do that. All that again is available. You can integrate bots when you go live, right? So all that is available, but still the experience is limited in the fashion and the way we are going now from video centric products, right? And the kind of experiences that can be built now feels like are getting restricted on YouTube.
Customers are really looking for an experience. So while you're watching a video and then you want to immediately ask a question to kind of solve your problem, um, you can't do that on a YouTube video. So it's, in a sense, it's not very interactive, unfortunately. So it limits the interactivity. Then another problem that we've seen is that while you're watching a video, if you want to get the customer to take a call to action, let's say for example shop now or add their payment details, select size, select colors, add to cart, checkout, while the video is continuing to play in the background, those kind of commerce capabilities are missing. So I think what is happening is that what we are now big believers of is that, obviously these walled gardens, that what we see in the world, like YouTubes of the world, Instagrams of the world, will continue to exist to drive influence and discovery. Businesses like ours are going to use open web solutions by using video as a key component to drive their product experiences. In our case, it's video commerce. In Ravneet's case, it's ed tech, and and so on and so forth, so that we can create a more native experience for our end users. That's what business is all about now. In modern day age, wherein we are actually using video as a component to drive more interactivity, for the end users. And I think that's where the true opportunity lies.
I don't even know why you wanted us. You could have just had asked your questions to ChatGPT and gotten all the equivalent answers.
Yes.
Where is the fun in that? I mean, what are form factors? Like obviously, shorts are working like perfectly well for the shoppable videos for social media. But what are the other form factors which are working? Let's say for ad tech, maybe the shorts will not work. But what is the format? Is it like a very long form content? It's like a 5 to 10 minute videos, and whether the horizontal versus vertical. Any inputs on that? Like what works? Apart from the social media, because yeah, obviously social media, you want to go quick 5, 10, 15 posts, you can do with shorts in 2 minutes. But what are the other form factors which are just making sense for different kind of businesses?
I think we are big believers of short video. I mean, barring few mind-blowing statistics that on an average today about 76 minutes of time is being spent every week by a user watching short video content on social in India, and significantly higher outside India, especially in countries like US where TikTok exists. And over globally, 83% of internet traffic being video first by 2023, primarily driven by short videos. I think that's going to take the industry by storm. That's why we have our one of our main or primary product offerings is short shoppable videos, wherein you can watch a video, tap on the screen, add to cart, check out, and make a transaction, and you can embed these beautiful looking short videos on your website. I think that is going to be a very kind of game changer for businesses to be able to articulate what their offering is within that 30-60 second, because everybody is having this low attention span, and you can only say so much, right? In whatever time that you get with the customers. Live streaming is also a very very key component to our business, and I think that's also going to kind of slowly contribute to a major component in terms of video adoption globally. We use HLS obviously for that, but I think in that sense, it's also a very very very, how do we call it, in real life kind of an experience that you can create using live stream, very authentic, to build trust with the end customer and get a very very real time experience. So that's where we are putting our bets on, besides the short video content.
Yeah, same from edtech perspective, right? Most of our adoption happens from mobile phones only, right? So it's kids still don't have laptops at their homes, right? They don't have broadband connections. So we are basically playing with two challenges there, right? So we are playing with one, mobile space, the kind of space that we have to play with, so that we are teaching concepts, right? So the kind of whiteboard that you have, can I zoom in into it, look at the equation properly, and write it in my notebook sector? So such things are very very important, right? Then comes the bandwidth consumption that happens, right? Say for example, if I'm watching just one or two classes, and in that case it is eating up my 1 GB bandwidth that I have from Geo every day, right? Then that becomes a problem point. But actually, we have faced these issues even at Wagmi also. For example, so if you keep scrolling the feed and you keep watching videos of these people, right? Sooner or later, kids realize that, hey, within 15-20 minutes, my 100 MB has gone, right? So the way we used to be with our pocket money, right? these guys are with that 1 GB these days, right? Say, I can't give 200 MB to this app for this use case. I have to utilize it better, right? Because once that 1 GB is cut, it is not working, and the whole day will go bad, right? So all those things became very, very important for us.
Think about the plight. I mean, India is at least thanks to Geo, the data was made cheap. Now it's increasing, but out of India, I think data is extremely costly on mobile. The plight will be even more there for students, I guess. But yeah, even India as well. I mean, we see a lot of our customers' apps get review that, hey, this app is consuming a lot of data. Do something about this.
Exactly, right. So the kind of experience that we can provide, I think there's somehow we have to manage the kind of bandwidth also that it consumes, right? To truly basically disrupt India as an ecosystem, right? And the power of masses that we have. As you also said, in Dubai, I was recently in Dubai, and then I've seen the costs of internet are minimum 8x more than that of India, right? And the difference that they have is because internet and Wi-Fi, etc., are so easily available, people, and also the penetration that the way we have it for smartphones, right? They have it in a better ratio for even say personal devices, personal laptops and phones, right? So ours is way too much skewed towards mobile, right? So you have to have those plays in play.
And I think Ravneet, for especially for you, or maybe even others have experienced this, but this video once it is, let's say, processed on device, or say once it is recorded, there is no reliable way to get out the video. I mean, the people record, and it's part of the form factor, right? People record in multiple dimensions, multiple formats. How do you get that out? Somebody with iPhone will record in 4K. Who knows? Um, how big is the challenge? Because I think that is that seems like a big problem right now. Or if you guys have found some answers to it, Manu, Suraj, I mean, you have videos which is already prepared, not by users, so I think you will be facing less of it, or you also do.
Yeah, we do face. That's what I initially mentioned, right? College students having different type of phones, different type of. A lot of them may not have a lot of great quality cameras to create good quality content. When there is an issue with respect to data, say probably, or even network, right? When there is a fluctuation in network, when there is a live streaming happens, so for example, if you say watch cricket match in Hotstar, right? One thing that I like about them is like they have a fallback option, so they'll reduce the quality of the video that's being streamed, so that way the streaming will keep on continuing. So that's also something that should be kept in mind, and that's very important factor that I feel for live streaming videos.
So I can add to that. I think we at least at GrowthSchool we come at these problems from a slightly different perspective, in that most of our users are paying users for video consumption, right? And they're consumer oriented, so it's still a B2C kind of focus, but they're paying users. So these are people who pay 10,000, 25,000, for an 8-week, 12-week program with mentorship, access to live video, which is a huge challenge. So some of our cohorts are like huge, way larger than what is typically allowed by most platforms. The challenge I think we have is a lot of our content. Some of our content is like speaker oriented, right? Like you're watching somebody speak. You can watch that fine on a mobile device. It might get boring after a while if the speaker's not engaging, but you can watch it fine. But a lot of our videos is like screen sharing. Here's how you set up Google Analytics for an intro to digital marketing course. Here is how you do full stack engineering. This is where the router is, the middleware is, blah blah blah. Good luck watching that on a phone, right? It's going to be really really disappointing experience. So a lot of our users, we try to bias them to kind of set expectations ahead of time, saying this is this is video that's probably better consumed on a device. And also we've had some, I wouldn't say a lot, but some kind of video compression and video pipelining challenges with that, because one moment it's somebody speaking, next moment boom, it's like a B frame or whatever, and it's like a screenshot, and the third moment is like a whiteboard. How you choose the compression algorithm, especially when using a third-party provider, is not at all in your control, right? They have to kind of window the video appropriately to be able to apply different compressions at different points and be intelligent about kind of guessing what kind of content it is. So those are all challenges not in your control. Would be nice to have. And the last piece I would say is, even though we don't have a problem with kind of scale and those kinds of issues, because we're primarily targeting paid users. We hope to have those problems at scale eventually, but I think that the current challenge is really around just because somebody pays for a course doesn't mean they actually watch all the videos. That's true for every course out there, right? Like I've signed up for God knows how many, like, machine learning or whatever courses on Coursera, Udemy. I don't know how many of them I finished. Probably a minority would be my own guess, right? And so just because I paid for something, it doesn't mean I'm motivated to finish it. But so you have to keep that motivation alive, and there are many ways to do that, right? So one thing is, don't serve a 1 hour video. If you have a 1 hour video, break it up into chunks, right? Make it seem like you get the dopamine check. Oh, I crossed one video, like that's like 15 minutes. Oh yes, like that dopamine check is really important from like a product sense. The other thing is the speaker just has to be engaging, especially if I'm just staring at a face and they're speaking monotone. It's not going to work. As in, if they have like these, transitions and like just exciting voice. And I think I've seen some great ones. I've seen some bad ones, but mostly great ones. I think at my tenure at GrowthSchool, these people are well aware that they need to keep these people engaged.
And for our last topic, I think let's discuss something about the future. I mean, we started videos with Flash, I think 15, 20 years ago, right? Adobe came up with some servers and clients, and like this is how you stream it. As the story goes, like Steve Jobs hated Flash even after investing in Adobe, so they invented the standard called HLS, which really took off big time, not only on Apple devices but everywhere else, because Flash really did suck, especially on the battery and power consumption front. Um, and in last 2 3 years, what has happened is, especially on the tech side, if I talk about, there are things like HEVC support, which is like very advanced codec, allows to stream the same sort of quality in a very less, transmitting a very less bytes. Um, Google and Apple has come up with, I think standardization is the name of the game in last 2 3 years. So Google and Apple is now collaborating to merge their standards. They both were on the different standards, like Google was on a Dash and Apple was on HLS, and now Dash and HLS teams are working together. DRM systems are really good right now. So in past, somebody needed to deploy, I think, 4 or 5 different DRM systems. Now it's thankfully down to 2. So Widevine and Fairplay, if it's deployed, 99.5% devices are covered these days. And on live streaming front, I mean, Apple has done a great job with LLHLS, which reduces, I think, latency of HLS streams, live HLS streams, by, I think, from 15-20 seconds to around 5-6 seconds. That's what the best case can achieve. That is a lot that has happened. I think standardization and interoperability and reducing this fragmentation is what is being done. What do you see like in next 2 3 years, or if you don't see, I mean, what is the wish list for next 2 3 years? I mean, on tech front or on video front. I think from Ravneet we have great list for YouTube, allow App Store on YouTube. I mean, but what else? Like, what is the wish list for future of videos?
Yeah, I think one is definitely bandwidth reduction, right? So we have to provide video content at a far lesser bandwidth available, right? Because I think one of our prime challenges at Wagmi today is that people want to engage more. It is just that their internet consumption is going higher, right? So how do we reduce that? Because that basically for the company means far more engagement and far more kids learning, coming into more learning cycles, right? But that bandwidth is basically now limiting the kind of extent that we can go uh, to provide such experiences, right? So that is a very very important question, right? Because this is how the world has shifted, right? Earlier we just had these boring websites, right, and we had to read through a lot of content and look through it, right? From that to now the delivery, all of that information happening in some 1 minute video format, right? And then even live experiences, live commerce sector. The world is now shifting from a dead web pages products to now deeper engagement products, right? And now sooner or later it will go into the metaverse world as well, wherein people will wear in these gadgets and will be in a video universe completely, right? But again, at end of the day, it matters, right? How better the experience can be. And as Manu also mentioned, there are different audiences, obviously. But if we have to create far more scalable products and reach to all these people, then it becomes bandwidth becomes a limiting power as of now. But again, in the last 3 4 years, what we have unlocked as India wouldn't have been possible without Geo, right? And similarly, I think such companies will keep evolving as the time comes, right? It'll keep becoming cheaper and cheaper, and hence more availability through such bandwidth, and hence more options for us to provide for.
Yeah, I think that is on top of everybody's wish list. Anything else? I mean, apart from bandwidth?
I think the same thing that Ravneet was pointing out, right? The post-production part, kind of automating it somehow where, people don't have to put a lot of effort to get the post-production done. That is something that would add a lot of value and, speeden up the delivery of the video content.
Oh yeah, that is I think my personal favorite, post production, because yeah, I went through the pain only once, but yeah, don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, I would agree that those are certainly much bigger things. The only other much smaller thing I would think about is like DRM, like better DRM. So certainly where we are with Fair Play and White Wine is 1,000 times better. I popped in a DVD I bought like 10 years ago, one of my old favorite shows, and it's like I popped in on the PlayStation. It's just you cannot play it because it's not in region 2. Some nonsense, yeah, like really stupid DRM nonsense like that they used to do. And where we are is 1,000 times better than that. But yeah, so I think advancements there would give kind of confidence to say that, hey, but it's an arms race, right? Like you can still screenshot stuff even if you have White Wine, like you can use like a screen capper. It's an arms race. Like you invent a better shield, somebody will invent a like harder weapon. So I just hope that keeps up in a way that's fair to both creators as well as maybe a little fair to pirates. I don't know.
Yeah, we have seen both the sides. I mean, we have seen like how to download the DRM protected videos, what are things to do it, and to now providing DRM protection for everybody. Yeah, I mean it's arms race, but thankfully right now at least, I mean it's in favor of like people who want to protect the companies these days. Um, it's become very sophisticated. At the same time, all the issues are gone, like these errors and like the latencies. Previously, DRM content would take like 15 seconds to start, and all those things. All those things have went away, but yeah, I mean, still good way to go. Uh, and part of that was because of the fragmentation in the space, but yeah, I think it's getting better.
See, basically, videos are basically digital assets, right? So, in our physical worlds, we have our houses, we have our buildings, right? We have our security guards protecting it or managing it and running the shows, right? In a digital world, videos are our assets, right? Every video on YouTube can keep bringing views even for a longer durations, right? For years and years to come. So, hence, they are assets. And if we look at assets, again, the security becomes a key there also, right? So if it is your proprietary content which you have created and that gets you money, revenues, advertisements from here and there, it has to be protected, right? So all similar principles apply, right? Which in our physical world applies in the digital world as well.
Yeah, great thought, because I think the woes that we go through when creating videos, I mean, needs to be paid. We need to be paid back for the for the effort that we put in when making them. Okay, any last thoughts before we close on? I think we are done with the topics.
One wish list that I can think of is, better searchability of content. So, for example, if there is an hour-long video that talks about, say, data structure and algorithm, and it contains, say, a snippet that just talks about, say, bitwise, and if I want to search content that's there only for that particular content, there should be a better searchability function that brings me all the content that is related to that bitwise or any particular topic, which can be in a longer duration video. I think
Yeah,
that would
Hey,
be my.
hold on
totally
two
agree.
months.
I think that's like I think it's a super killer feature. The closest we've come to it is in terms of like the content creator doing chaptering, doing like better seeking and things like that. But those are all very weak. Like how do you know you're using the right keyword? What if you could do like a deep video search? I read somewhere that Google's releasing a product on deep video search. I'm sure it won't be the last word in the space, but that would be like a real game changer. I think that's a great point that Suraj makes.
Hold
Yeah,
on 2 months. We are redesigning our CMS. It has those features. So
Nice, nice.
Aditya, let me ask you a question. So,
yes, please.
how different on this deep video search problem? How would you characterize its complexity in terms of the pieces compared to deep image search, which has been around for a long time? So, video is in one way to think about it as a series of frames. Obviously, it's much richer than that because it has some connectivity between those frames. But what can you do in deep video search that you don't think that we could do if we just split all those frames and index them?
Yeah, so I'll tell you how we are tackling it. So what we are right now, like in version one, what we are building is at least the searching of the spoken words. So let's say, as Suraj said, somebody told about like say some phrases or something. At least that should be searchable to the right through that second, not only the video, but to that second. So that's what we are doing right now. That is also powered by ML. So we'll convert all the audio to text and index it according to all the timestamps and allow from a single search bar to search. Even if you have like 1 lakh videos, we'll search through all that within second and give you out the search. So that's what we are doing from audio right now. The the second part, I think we which is the deep image search and the counterpart of video is this indexing frame for their content. So let's say, for example, if I take a photo of this room in a big way, there is a whiteboard and then there are lights and I can search that. There are two challenges with that. One is it's extremely computationally intensive. So what happens is that for doing it for images is okay, because you have like 1 lakh images is like 1 lakh frames, but here it's like a multiply by 30 into your minutes. So it's a large number of frames which are there. Even if we do every second, it's still is a big one to pass through the machine learning models. And second one is that how useful is that? So for some industry it might be like very useful, so some it's not so much. So we are just weighing on those options about how, when, at what point of time things will become cheaper to index, and at what point of time we have enough data that these are the set of industries which support the deep video indexing will basically make super good use of it. Right now, it's even YouTube. It's not that good, but I think it should become better. So that's what we are doing. We are it's the deep part, especially to extraction of frames, is really tough one. Not from the result side, but from the competition and cost side. But yeah, let's see. At least the version 1 will come from audio.
Yeah. And our future plans can be that we raise money from Azure, right? And say, okay, hey, 10% loss computation, just let it be on us.
Yeah, I mean, Satya is all bullish on all the ML technologies these days. Interesting to see, especially this. I mean, there are some things which were very computational intensive, and now it has become like very cheap. For example, this image generation, this table diffusion and things like that, were very computational intensive back in like 2016, 17. Nobody could even think doing that very easily. And on the other hand, Apple just released iOS 16.2, which is stable diffusion inbuilt. They have APIs for that, and it runs on mobile devices, which is like completely different, which was unheard of. I think things are becoming way cheaper, way faster on the ML side. I think it's time we'll start seeing on device and on CPU things super early than it was anticipated. At least I've been working in this field since like more than 6 years now, but it seems like things are becoming less computationally intensive really fast, which is a good thing. Okay, I think then this is a great time to conclude today's Tech Talk. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your inputs today. It has been really good to talk with you guys. See you guys in the next one. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.